Hi, Gaye DeRusso with the Majestic rider. Today I'm Blue Jay, a Rocky Mountain horse, and we've been working on teaching him to bend better, to move sideways, the leg yield and the shoulder in, to have a better stop and back up. He was very heavy on the forehand. He's still a little heavy in the bridle. Even right now, he's putting a little pressure on there, and so we're trying to get him lighter over time. But his flat walk is doing pretty good. As we go to the saddle gait, some of those things are going to affect us. The better supple they are, like the more they can bend, the more they can do the shoulder in, the more you can adjust them and help them with their gait. When they don't do those things because they don't know how to do them, or you don't know how to do them, or they don't do them well, then you cannot adjust the horse as much to help get that saddle gait. Because when you're trying to get a Pacey horse to do it, you have to get more leg separation. So here we go. So he immediately goes into pacing. So we're going to start over the poles. Now the other hard part is feel with your horse, because if you cannot feel the gait, you don't know when they're doing it right and you don't know when they're doing it wrong. And that's the hard part, because some of these guys step pace, and that's what he's doing right now. So you'll see a soft bounce in the saddle. And because it's not as bouncy as the trot, you think that's okay, but it can be so much smoother than that. Now, I don't want to tuck his head way in. All I'm trying to do is get some more lateral movement out of him, but he's not moving off my leg. So he tends, even though he can be just a little bit kind of spooky, he's also dull. So even though now he knows to move off my leg, he will kind of be stubborn and be like, I'm not doing that. So you got to make sure your horse responds. You can't work on their gait if you don't have a good stop, you don't have a good go button, and they don't, respect the bit or give to it at all. So again, he's better, but he's still step pacing right now. So I'm leaning back, kind of holding them together. And what I got to do is get some more relaxation around his neck and spine to get those legs separated. It's a little better. So as long as he's light, I don't mind if his head is down. He just can't be pulling down or heavy on his front end. He's got to be carrying himself, which he's getting better at. But he had the weekend off. So it gets confusing with gaited horses, because sometimes people are trying to help you and they're not a trainer. And so they have you like tucking their headway in, but then the horse is pacing or step pacing like he's doing. So you'll see I keep taking and giving, and I'm trying to get him to relax and bend more. But then I give him a chance to try to drop his head down, because he tends to get all bunched up, and the opposite stays tense. And the main problem is when I'm asking him to move over off my leg, he's still not doing it so well. Now, when you're teaching those movements, a dressage whip will help. But they don't want me to ride him with a whip, so I'm not. But that would help, because I could be pushing his hindquarters over. See how it got smooth right there? Because he actually listened to me and moved his hindquarters over more. So this takes time and conditioning. But again, even if I get the gait, everybody doesn't ride him correctly. Even if one person at a time let him step pace, they're going to go back to step pacing. You got to train the horse, but then you got to train all the people riding him if you want your gaits to stay well, and you got to go the correct speed. Many people go way too fast. There's no point in going faster with this guy. I got to get his footfall slow and then get it better. So I'm doing a lot of shoulder in. And see, he's not paying attention because his paint horse is coming up on the side. So keep their attention. Otherwise, you can't work on the gait, or you can't have a nice trail ride if they're off looking at things. So it usually takes anywhere from, a couple minutes to 5 minutes to get them warmed up on their Pacey and help get them out of that pace. And I do different things depending on which gait I'm going for. But when I'm going for the saddle gait, I will kind of keep going and just working on that bend. Keep getting them to give to your leg, arc their body, and bend. So, anytime he falls in, though. So right there is pretty smooth. Smooth. So it took all that time to get one smooth one, and then he pulled on me as he stopped. So that's why I'm backing up. So I'm going to give him a minute, and then off we're going to go again. Now, I'm light on the rein, so if he pulls on me, I'm going to close my hands down, because he was pulling on the bit a fair amount when he came, and they got to know you cannot yank the reins out of our hands. That's what he just did there. He tested it. It's different if I was giving him a long break and a long rein, but it's just a couple of minutes because I don't want him to forget what he's doing right now. So you can stay over the poles, but it's hard when they get a little trippy. If they're getting tired, I don't want them to trip and fall with you. So then just bending them or doing patterns, or even like this is a serpentine when you go back and forth. You can do this, just bending back and forth all over the arena. Because it does bend them, and it gets them to give with their body, and it gives you something different to do, especially if one of your arms is getting tired because you kept bending to the left the whole time. So just bending left and right, which is your serpentine, you kind of just weave back and forth, can help you. But the other things you have to do at the same time is keep the same speed, so don't let them speed up, and the horses won't know that, so you got to tell them with your reins. See how he just stopped? Because he wants to go to the bathroom, and that's why I don't let them stop and go to the bathroom unless they're very forward horses. But you're in the middle of practice gaiting, and he just decides to stop and go to the bathroom. If they can jump and run, they don't have to stop to go to the bathroom. So it's different if they have a problem. They can't go to the bathroom. So one direction, then the other. So it's left rein and leg, but you support with the other side, and then right rein and leg, and support with the other side. But you have to prevent the horse from speeding up. When you push them over, they have to understand the difference between forward and going sideways. So he was doing good, and then he just got a little bit more step pacey again, and then I kind of went to his side. So you get them to give with their body. It's not just their head. This is better. He's still a little step pacey, but again, it takes time and it takes conditioning. They might get good steps here and there, but it takes muscle control and practice to do it for many, many steps. Where I helped him the more, oh no, it's not magic, and everybody thinks it's magic. You just get him to gait. No, it's not. You got to practice. You got to know how to do it. Good boy. And so I'm always going to back up with him for now. And then you got to ride him correctly, because even if I get him gaiting well, if they take him back and they don't ride him correctly because they have no feel, he's going to go back to step pacing. It's guaranteed. It's the easiest thing, and they won't know. And that's the hardest part, is you want to fix the horse, but you also want to learn how to get it yourself. So again, it's better than the last video I made on him, but you'll see I'm getting after him and nabbing him when he's not listening. So now I'm giving him a total break because we're going to go the other direction in a minute. But he's got to learn not to ignore people, and that's what he tends to do. You put your leg on him, and he's like, yeah, whatever. So you want a quiet horse, but you still need one that's responsive. In case something happens, you have to be able to tell them what to do and where to go to keep you both safe, because the horse won't understand what you might understand, like a dog's coming and you gotta like manipulate your horse to go somewhere to get away from the dog. If the horse doesn't listen to you, the dog's just going to charge you, and then you just got to deal with that. So it's difficult, but I can tell you many of the gaited horses that don't gait well are not trained, and that's why. And that's why I always say it's not magic. You know, everybody wants to know, well, where do I put his head, and what angle of his foot, and how heavy the shoe. Those are just quick fixes. You got to do it all. Now, see, when I started off, he wasn't a step pacey compared to when I started off the other direction, because now he's warmed up. So right now, I'm going to his side. I'm trying to get him to bend, and I'm working with my left rein. And once I feel his legs get separated, then I can release. But again, if I can't feel that leg separation, I wouldn't know when to release. So again, it's easier once the horse is more fixed for you to learn. So it's always nice to have the trainer get it first, but make sure they are doing it correctly and that it's the right gait, because there's lots of gaited trainers out there that will tell you that step pace is the correct gait, and it's not. There's a smoother gait than that. That's your saddle gait. So this is better. Good boy. And again, what you're trying to see with my body, if you can't tell with his legs, because sometimes their legs go a little fast, and your bare eye can't tell if it's a step pace or not. It's when I'm bouncing. See, I'm not letting him stop to go to the bathroom. The only time I should be bouncing in the saddle is if I'm on a horse that's fox-trotting. So if I don't see him fox-trotting and I'm bouncing, it means they're step pacing. Those are the two things. Hard trot are also going to make you bounce, but most people can delineate those things. So right now I'm bouncing, so that means he's step pacing. So I'm going to his side. Now I'm going to do a little serpentine down this side, so left and right. So again, you can change it up. You can use the poles, you can use bending, you can do the serpentine, you can do circle, shoulder in, then leg yield. You want to know how to do all those things. That was pretty good. So you have the options to help you if they're not gated. And if you know how to do all of those things, you'll always have lots of options, lots of tools in your tool chest to help your horse. But if you and your horse don't know how to do any of those things, then you don't have any options at all. So that's the problem with most of these horses, is they don't know, the person doesn't know, so you have no options. That was pretty good. And you're also trying, not in the beginning to be a perfectionist, you just want it better than it was the day before. It's not going to be perfect. It takes a long time. Remember, it takes 6 to 8 weeks to build up muscle. So you got to take the time to build it up. And the more you ride them, the quicker it's going to get there. The less you ride them, the longer it's going to take. If you're riding that horse once a week, it's going to take a long time. It might take you a couple of years. But if you're riding them 5-6 days a week and working on it all the time, riding all over the place, and you put a good foundation on your horse, you're going to get it much quicker. So this is better. And see, his head's not tucked in. It's just relaxed and down. Now he's starting to step pace again. So I got to have that feel to know when he is step pacing and when he's not. And again, most of you won't know in the beginning. I didn't know in the beginning either. Don't feel bad. That's how we all learn. At least you got lots of videos for me to watch. I had nothing. And so let's just go over this pole. So if you really don't know what you're doing, then just stick over the poles, because the poles will help you do the work. And then you'll get the feel, and the horse will get the conditioning and the muscle memory. But they got to keep the same speed as they're going over the poles, not get faster, not get slower. But the right speed for the gait you're trying to get. Now see, he got distracted. There's a cat over there. Especially with a horse that's spooky or doesn't have a lot of confidence, don't let them get distracted. Do what you got to do to get his attention back. I don't know if you just saw me slide the bit pretty hard right there, because I was like, don't look at him. Don't pay attention to that. You got a job in here. You don't have time to look anywhere else except where I'm directing you. So sometimes it's just the horse not paying attention or being lazy, and that's the biggest problem. People think something's wrong with them or whatever. I go, no, it's just you're not riding them. Some of these horses really need to be ridden to get it, but they also need that foundation. And I don't know how many thousands of times I've said that to people, and then they go, why is my horse still pacing? And I ask them, they can do all the things that I recommend, and they go, no. I go, well, that's why he's pacing. What do you want me to tell you? It's not magic. Put in the time, your horse will get better. Don't put in the time, your horse will stay where it is or get worse. So he might look pretty right now, but he's step pacing. So that's why I just went to his side. Now he's better. Now he's step pacing. So I'm doing my serpentine again. Now I'm going to go over this pole. So have the thing set up in your arena. Put those poles down. That's better. All right, sounds good. That's better. Now there. Good boy. So that's where I'm going to stop with him, because that was pretty good, and he dropped his head and relaxed, and he stayed smooth, and it wasn't very fast, so that's good. Now, again, it's not speed in the beginning, it's footfall. Get your footfall. Loosen the girth. But you get the footfall of the gait first, then you get the speed later, and it's much easier to do that way. If you don't get the footfall, you're always doing something crazy trying to get them in gait. Back off. And that doesn't work. Now, even though this horse can be a little spooky, he can also be not so respectable. So he's got to learn both. He's got to be desensitized, but also learn respect and stay out of my space. So just remember, it's not magic. You have to put the time in. And it's good to ask the people that own the horse when you're buying them, did you do anything specific to make this horse gait? Did you put heavy shoes on him? Does he have special angles? Are his feet long? Just act like it's a normal thing and ask them so they tell you. Because then you know what you're dealing with. If they say, no, he's barefoot, he's got regular shoes on, here's a picture of his feet, you can see they're all the same length, you're like, okay, it shouldn't be that hard. Maybe he is naturally gaited. But if you get a picture of his feet and you're like, wow, the front feet are really long, those shoes look a little thick. That horse is probably Pacey. Longer foot, heavy shoe. If you get the picture and the feet in the back are pretty long, looks like a little bit thicker shoe or something, that horse is probably trotty, and they're using those things to help them. So when you get them and you just shoe them normally, they're not going to gait the same. And then again, even though they use those tools, they still know what the gaits feel like, so they're riding it correctly, and you're not going to have any idea. So the better gaited you can get them, when you buy one, is great. But also try to take lessons, learn what they feel like, or, use that yoga ball like I showed you, and imitate it so you can get the feel. And just every night you sit on the ball and you're like, this would be a foxtrot or step pace. This would be a flat walk or a running walk. This would be, a saddle gait or a rack. So you get the muscle memory in your head as well, and that will help you a lot more. But he's getting better. I think he did pretty well for the amount of time he's been here. All right, hope that helps. Remember to like and subscribe.